Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 8 of Andrew's Sports Zone. I am Andrew, and I'm back with my father once again.
Hi, thanks for having me again. Episode 8 already.
Yeah, episode 8 already. It's so exciting to see. It's so fun to do this podcast with you. And maybe with the ending of seasons, we can have some players on, or maybe some of my friends who are sports knowledgeable. So look forward to that. If you want to listen, we could plan that in the future. But
exactly. We'll plan out that transition
It's
period.
really fun. We appreciate everybody supporting our podcast so far. We had lucky number 7 last week, and this week it's number 8. We're filming this on Wednesday, October 22nd. Last week's activities, let's get into that real quick. Okay. We had an away football game on Friday against Masco, and one of the worst setups I've seen in a very long time at a football game. Entering the stadium, they did have like a little platform above and like a little opening thing for some kind of PA announcers, but they didn't really let us in there, right?
Yeah, they had the 2 platforms, one for the one team and one for our team, but I think the coaches have to have the priority for that, so they had their little table set up and they could see everything there, but even they didn't like the setup too much. There were poles in the way and things, so I was on camera for that one, and if you did watch the, which we have it on the BevCam Sports Network, if you watch the Beverly Masco football game, you can see the camera hitting the pole every once in a while. I missed, it was the other team at least, but I did miss a
little
play.
Touchdown, But it was a weird setup, but we'll be in Peabody next week. I have, not next week, the week after this.
Yeah.
Well, next week. But I have scouted out their stadium, and they do have one of those things, so make sure you look forward to that. We appreciate everybody watching.
And that was a good crowd, and you did another great job at
last
announcing
time
that.
I checked, there was a lot of views on the video, so we always appreciate everybody watching that. I did some field hockey on Saturday morning. We had an 8-0 win against Newton South.
Yeah, that was one you were announcing all on your own again. I was on camera, and you did the sole announcer for that one, which is first field hockey.
It was really fun to do. Having a field hockey experience, I kind of know all the players at this point.
Yeah.
I did have to look at my phone a couple times. I wish field hockey is like a weird sport where you don't really have a roster for the other team. So it was kind of challenging. But I think I did a great job. If you're wondering why all the field hockey games are down, it's because the field hockey team does not want to be scouted.
It was kind of odd.
Yeah, even though I think they still watch films sometimes, but it's fine. All of those will be up. So
they'll be up eventually. But that was a shame because you wanted to check you out, check your performance, but they already pulled it down. So,
Like if it's a parent ever listening or watching, that's just
but they'll be back up.
They'll be back up. Yeah. I did a volleyball game last night. Unfortunately, we lost 1-3 against Peabody. That was the last home game and probably the last game of the season for the girls volleyball team. And today on Wednesday, October 22nd, I just came back from a field hockey game about an hour ago.
He's a busy guy.
We tied 2-2 with North Andover. North Andover Scarlet Knights. And it was a pretty bad game officiating, but I can't say anything about the referees, but that was pretty bad. And you'll see when the games come up, but it was a pretty cool ending. It looked like a goal from Ashley Wallace that was shot, but it was deflected off of Lily Scotty's stick. Reviewing it, but the referee doesn't see that in time, and they marked it no goal, so it ended up being a tie. That was just heartbreaking.
I was watching that on the BevCam Sports Network, the YouTube channel from home, watching you guys, and it was an exciting game. It was nice because some of their games have been quite lopsided. It's such a good team. They're always on one side of the field. It was nice to see a little back and forth.
Yeah, it was really fun to see a competitive game. But we'll move into some specific games. That game we were talking about, that Masco football game, unfortunately, the Beverly Panthers suffered their second loss in a row. 41-22. Just to, like, a quick comment, that Beverly Panthers schedule is hard. First, they went into 4-0 Danvers, I believe, and then 5-0 Marblehead, and then 5-1 Masco. But next week they're going against 0-6 Peabody. They're on a bye week this week. So I feel like Beverly should win that game, but I was talking to one of the players, and it's good to see. So one of the players told me that they'll probably be 500 for the first time since 2018, good. And it looks like Beverly will be in the playoffs, and they'll have a home game at Frank 40 Field. So that'll be really
what,
exciting.
or if they win.
I think I believe if they beat Peabody by 14 points next week, next Friday, then they will have a home playoff game. So that's pretty cool to see.
Good.
And even if they lose, they'll have some consolations leading into that Salem game. So that's fun to see.
Yeah.
Just a quick recap of the game. The Masco Chieftains were led by their senior running back, Jack Fabiano, who rushed for 295 yards and 6 touchdowns. We usually don't lead with news about the opponent, but that performance was something else. That was
6 touchdowns.
crazy. And in my talk with one of the players, he was a friend of mine, track teammate as well. He was like, I think Fabiano came into there with 1,300 rushing yards or something like that as well going into that game.
Yeah.
So he's having an incredible season. And like I mentioned a couple times through that broadcast, they do have a lot of players on the top of the North Shore, according to that Thursday leaderboard
that's
published
what I saw.
every Thursday by
the Salem News. Yeah,
by the Salem News. For Beverly, junior running back Sean Aquizabon of the Panthers had a great game for himself. He rushed for a season high 139 yards and 2 touchdowns.
My camera work was good on that. I got a couple of good Sean.
That second touchdown in I believe it was the fourth quarter. So check that out. Check that out if you want to see. Senior Floyd White pulled off 2 more fake punts in the game. One of them yielding a 42-yard run for the first score of the game. That makes 6 successful fake punt plays for the season so far.
Yeah.
And in my experience last year on the team, we did punt a lot, but we didn't see these fake punts. So it's kind of fun to see.
And you were commenting on it as well. You're saying, let's see if they do it again. They've done it a few times this season, and they do it again.
I don't think they did it against Marblehead, so it was good to see it against Masco this time. The team is now 4-3 on the season with 2 more to go on their regular schedule, but of course they have playoff and consolation games, like 2 more scheduled games. Then they have the playoffs and all that. Their next game is Thursday, October 30th at Peabody. We like we said, we plan again to record that game and upload it to the BevCam Sports Network.
Well, let me ask you a question before we move on to the next sport. Now the Salem game is always like Thanksgiving, November.
Yeah,
that's late November. Do they have like playoffs before the Thanksgiving game, or do they wait till after that?
It's before the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
It's like weird. The Salem game is like really weird. Like if I think if Beverly was like a really good team, it'd be really, really weird because the championship, the Massachusetts State Championship between, I forget the 2 teams it was between, but that was in like December. So it would be really weird. If Beverly like was one of the top ranked teams, they'd have to go against like Salem in this random game and then keep going into these playoff games. But yeah, it's if you, I don't think we ever had a home game, but I played for the team last year and we had 3 consolation games: Belmont, Lynn Classical, and someone else that is slipping my mind. But yeah, those 3 games were leading up into Salem, and then but we'll have some playoff games for Beverly, so that would be cool to see.
And
that's in I believe we're in Division 2.
Okay, so we don't have such a big gap. There will be some games in between there. Excellent.
We are on a bye week this week, but yeah, that's our only bye week. But you want to move into some girls soccer real quick?
Let's talk about the girls soccer. Last Friday, the 17th, they had a 6-0 win at Gloucester. Jaden Simpson, Olivia Anketel scored 2 goals each. Avery Fogarty added a goal and an assist, and Sasha Miller netted her first varsity goal, so congratulations to her. On Tuesday, they had a game, the 21st, a 2-0 win against Acton Boxborough Regional. Again, Sasha Miller sent a deep shot home in the first half, and then Olivia Anketel scored on a cross from Jaden Simpson in the second half. Let's see, goalkeeper Clara Costco recorded her 9th shutout of the season. So the team is now 12-4-2, and it looks like there are no more games listed on the regular schedule, so it must be time for the playoffs. I don't know much about how that works or where they post those, where the games are.
I'm not sure where the schedule is, but it is usually a tournament format. I was talking to my colleague Matt today about field hockey playoffs, and they said that's single elimination, but I'm not sure for soccer. But hopefully both of our teams go far. I think the Beverly Panthers boys team will go far. We'll talk about them later.
Yeah.
But the girls team is also good. So soccer seems, I think soccer is like our most consistent sport every year. So it's really cool to see those games. Our girls volleyball team, unfortunately, they lost with the losing. They ended the season with a losing record, 7-12. On Friday, on 10-17, they had a 3-set loss against Swampscott. Sophia Balducci played a strong match for the Panthers. She's always on the top of the team with those digs. And if you ever watch those games, you just see that she really opposes those hitters. We saw it in the Masco game and the Peabody game. She just does her best to just dig it up and just try her best to get it for her team. Yeah. But it's always challenging for her. She does a great job. On Tuesday, the 21st, we had a 1-3 loss against Peabody. That was the last home game. I believe they do have a game today against Salem, and that must be horrible to go through the Salem
Yeah,
traffic.
I wonder how it is getting over there.
Yeah, they had a 1-3 loss against Peabody at home. The team finished 7-12. No more games are listed on their regular schedule, and I don't think this team is in the playoffs, but it's definitely an improvement from last year. They only had about 3 wins last year, so it's a good job by Coach Harmon coming in there. And I was talking to my colleague Rich Francis about it yesterday.
Yep.
There's so much young talent on the team, even losing Reese Quietek and Caroline Ortons this year. In the following year, you just have so much potential, especially Lydia Miedema with her just blocks, and she's such a good player. And Beverly, it was really valuable. They had a couple injuries. It's like it's kind of like the 49ers in football when you have a good team, but that wins, but then eventually you go down with injuries. It was kind of like that for the Panthers. They lost Julia Marks and Lydia Miedema, but it's good luck for them, and tune into them in the future. They're a really good team.
And that's probably it for them for the season then, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Unless we hear something else, we'll report it on this podcast.
Yeah, and you want to move into some girls field hockey. They had that game today.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, this sport is really growing on me. It's fun to watch those games, especially the one you got to announce the other day. But on Friday, the 17th, they had a 7-0 win at Peabody. So I've got all kinds of names to list off here. Sophie Ruiz, I probably pronounced that wrong.
Ruiz.
Sophie Ruiz scored twice and added 1 assist. And then sophomore Kira McNutt had her first varsity goal and assist. Sophomore Carolyn Blank also scored her first varsity goal. So 2 new scorers there. And also the usual suspects there, Fiona Bazin, Gwen Jones, and Ashley Wallace also scored goals. So there's a lot of names to list in the 7-0 win at Peabody. So that sounds
really excited
lopsided there.
I'm really excited to look on that Thursday leaderboard to see where Bazin is. But continue. But she's just scored so many points.
And the Saturday game, that was the senior game beforehand. They had the seniors out there and gave them the flowers and balloons and all the fun stuff beforehand. They ended up being an 8-0 win at home versus Newton South. Junior Fiona Bazin again scored twice with 1 assist. Ashley Wallace contributed 2 goals. Senior Mads LeBlanc added 1 goal and 2 assists. And then you have Avery Blank, Sophie Ruiz. Did I say that again?
Yeah,
Ruiz.
Ruiz.
Okay, sorry about it. And then Morgan Linsky each added 1 goal. And then goalie Charlotte Stevens stopped 6 shots on goal, so another good thing. And then today, which you're just coming back from, it was a 2-2 tie against North Andover. And you told that little story about it looked like Beverly had almost scored at the end. It looked like it on television as well. We got to somehow figure out some higher tech with our BevCam Sports. Maybe get an instant replay.
We'll go consult that guy from Gloucester. I don't think we mentioned him on our broadcast when we were there, but he was pretty cool. He was filming the game and he was doing the PA announcing, and he had the replays. That guy was cool.
There's some sort of tech that can do that.
Maybe we'll talk about that guy. But speaking of Gloucester, going into some boys soccer on Monday the 20th, they had a 4-0 win at Gloucester. Captain Daniel Silva had a pair of goals. Junior goalie Adam Porcello had another shutout, and the Panthers win the Northeastern Conference Championship again. That's back to back, and they really deserved it. It was the team is 14-1. Unfortunately, they had that 1 loss against Masco at the start of October, but then they had wins from there. And there are 3 remaining games listed on the schedule. The next one being Saturday, 10:25 at 11 a.m. at Chelmsford. That's going to be pretty far away, and then off to the tournament, and they'll be one of the higher ranked teams, so they'll definitely have some home field advantage. And I'll probably go to those games if I'm not commentating, just to watch and see how the soccer team does. Those are going to be exciting.
Yeah, great. And then there's a couple other sports I wanted to mention, which we haven't really been covering on our podcast, but they're listed on Arbiter Live, and they have been out there. Is that we have the boys varsity golf team, and it looks like, according to that website, they went 10-5 for their season, so that sounds successful. Likewise, they had boys cross country. They are 3-4 with 1 matchup remaining on Saturday at Fort Park in Gloucester against Danvers. The girls cross country is listed as 4 wins and 3 losses, with their, again, also that final matchup against Danvers on Saturday in Gloucester. And then they had some co-ed unified basketball going on. Their team is 3 wins and 1 losses, with 1 game remaining on Monday the 10th, 7th at Marblehead. And I believe that was televised on the BevCam Sports Network, that last unified basketball game. That was last week when we were recording our podcast, so we couldn't make it and do any commentating or filming. But congratulations to them. A lot of energy in those games.
such a good cause having something like that at my school, and it's good to see volunteers in the NHS. I see a couple of those smart kids in there, and as well as some basketball players. I see Jacob Kloss out there with the co-ed basketball team. So it's really nice to see. And just a quick shout out to some specific golfers. I did see that Drew Murphy, an old friend of mine, Hannah Elementary School
is he on the team?
alumni. He was in the state. I think he made the state championship. The state levels of the golf tournament, and then also junior Tyler Chin Along, I believe it's pronounced, but he's also in there. He's also the hockey goalie. So shout out to them.
Man, those are fun sports too. I grew up and went to a small little high school, so we didn't have some fun sports like golf and cross country.
My golf, it's so unique. The golf team, it just seems like such a fun sport to do, and it's probably tough to do it in October with all this rain. But it's a fun sport. My school has so many.
Well,
fun
they're
sports.
racing the sun at this time of year too. I saw some of those start at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Like, man, I got to be watching that sun go down. But either way, let's move on to our pro sports and probably
moving
just
on
go
to
right
some
into football, right?
pro sports like we do. We can move into some football. We'll review our Week 7 picks and get into our Week 8 picks like we do, and then we'll talk about some. How about we do some NHL, some NBA. Celtics play today. We're filming this.
Yeah, I got
Wednesday
some comments
again.
about NBA and so forth. So why don't I give the NFL scores and then we'll go over each game, or just want to go down game by game? How do you want to do it this
probably
week?
go up down game by game. That seems pretty fun. We'll do that.
All right, very good. So that first game, the Thursday night game, was Cincinnati winning against Pittsburgh 33-31. I had picked, this is my sheet, right? Yeah, I had picked Pittsburgh, so I missed that one. But any comments about that one?
Yeah, I picked Pittsburgh as well. I just did not expect Cincinnati to do good in this game, but Joe Flacco does look pretty surprising for the Bengals. They seem like a better team, and I think Joe Flacco will be pretty good for them until Joe Burrow comes back.
I think so too. Looks like they're going to their passing game more now.
Yeah, and it was really surprising, and also Chase Brown had 108 rushing yards.
They opened up the run game for Chase Brown, opening up
definitely the passing game was the key. I just didn't expect Pittsburgh's defense to be this bad. They were really, really bad. It was really surprising, but good for Cincinnati. They're always a fun team to root for. One of my favorites in the AFC. Nobody they're a clean team, a fine team to watch. So that's pretty cool. Moving on to the Rams and Jacksonville. We'll go back and forth.
The Rams won 35-7 against Jacksonville.
Oh, complete domination. And the Rams kind of said, "No Puka, no problem." They really didn't need.
I like that. Where'd you steal that from?
I saw that on Instagram.
Didn't make that up.
I saw that on Instagram somewhere, but it was good. But Devontae Adams caught 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, I was against him in fantasy, so he got like 29 points against me. But the Rams defense looked great against Jacksonville. Jacksonville just couldn't get anything going. But good potential for Travis Hunter. He did have about 100 plus receiving yards in his first receiving touchdown of the season, and also had a cool pass breakup on the defensive side. So it's exciting to watch the number 1 overall pick play.
And let me add that you're always so impressive because your memory is so good. I take notes on these things, and I'm just looking over, and I left my notebook at home, so a lot of good that does. But at least we have Mr. Knowledgeable over here can fill us in on these things. So the next game, we have Chicago beat New Orleans 26-14.
Yeah, this game was pretty explanatory. You kind of... when New Orleans has a tough matchup like this, you kind of pick a certain team. I picked Chicago in this game, and it was surprising. Caleb Williams does not seem that great. He did seem okay in a couple games, but it's really the rushing game for Chicago that was the key in this game. With I believe his name is. I think it's Kai Manungai or something like that. And then also DeAndre Swift having a couple rushing touchdowns. DeAndre Swift really showing up. I kind of expected that with Ben Johnson coming in there to be the head coach. I kind of expected more of a running game key because you saw David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs kind of I believe it was 20 combined rushing touchdowns last year and a lot of receiving game in between those running backs. So I expected DeAndre Swift to have a big season. He's finally emerging after coming off a couple of years with only 3 yards per carry. He's finally showing what he could do after he played for Detroit previously in Philadelphia. So it's good to see him kind of get into the mojo a bit. And New Orleans, this was the 1 week where they really looked bad. They couldn't get anything in the rushing game. Chris Olave still looks good, but Alvin Kamara only got like 22 yards, and
they lost their backup running back to an ACL tear. I can't remember his name.
Kendre Miller. They lost him to an ACL tear, which is maybe good for me because I have Breece Hall and Alvin Kamara as my running backs, and now both of those running back twos are out for the season. So maybe it'll be good for me. But but the New Orleans just didn't look good in this game. Moving on to this Miami and Cleveland game, I picked Cleveland in this game wisely because Miami just does not look good. That Cleveland defense was really, really strong against the Miami Dolphins. And I am still surprised that they have not fired Mike McDaniel.
How is he around this week?
I don't know if it was accurate, but I did see a report that they might have benched Tua Tagovailoa and they might be starting Quinn Ewers this week out of Texas, but I'm not sure if that's accurate.
He's about due for it. He threw 3 more interceptions in this game, and I heard I think it's this game, but it's like they fumbled the ball 6 times and recovered it 5 times, but the ball is on the ground 6 times.
Yeah, I think I saw. Wow. I think I saw the Browns defense on fantasy get like 25 points or something like that. So it was crazy.
Miami is just bad.
They look bad this year. Moving on to that New England-Tennessee game. New England continues to look good. But it's kind of on and off with New England for me because they have such an easy schedule. I think I saw someone say they have the easiest schedule in the NFL, which is true. Las Vegas to start it off, Tennessee this week, New Orleans last week. The only challenging game really they went against was Buffalo. So I'll elaborate more on my picks in Week 8, but New England. But Drake May still look good. Ramondre Stevenson got most of the carries, and it's kind of a weird situation for the Patriots because they only gave Travion Henderson about 3 carries. So it's kind of like weird now. Like why pick him?
Yeah, because everyone was so high on Travion Henderson, and now they're not using him at all. Yeah. It's just like wasted draft capital at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's weird, but maybe he'll be the running back next year. Maybe we'll trade Ramondre Stevenson or something like that. Yeah. But Mike Vrabel definitely got revenge on that Tennessee team that actually fired him, and then Tennessee's in shambles right now. I feel bad for Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. Having a new coach mid-season is bad, and I expect him to have a new coach starting next year because it's an interim coach right now.
You got to get developed with the right coach and see how that plays out for him. But let me do this next game. The next game was Las Vegas going to challenge Kansas City at Kansas City. And, of course, I picked Las Vegas to win that game. And the score ends up being Kansas City 31, Las Vegas 0.
But
just missed it by a little bit.
Missed it by a little bit. Kansas City continues to look strong. You always got to root against Kansas City, but I have Patrick Mahomes in fantasy, so I had to cheer for him. Rashee Rice coming off the suspension, he got 2 touchdowns. Looks really, really good.
Right back into the flow of things.
Yeah, really good. Just speedy slot receiver for that Kansas City team. He looks like a weapon in the future. So this Kansas City team probably will make the playoffs again. Just maybe I don't think they're in position to really get to the Super Bowl again, unless the scriptwriters really like it. But Kansas City does look good. They look much better coming off a 3-game winning streak, I believe. So they've looked good in the past weeks. Moving on to this Philadelphia-Minnesota game, I personally picked Minnesota in this game, and it was awfully close, but Carson Wentz was kind of forgetting he was on the Vikings, and he threw 2 interceptions to his old team in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia won this one. Jalen Hurts finally figured out how to pass the ball. Saquon Barkley continues to have a surprisingly mediocre season. And I kind of predicted it. I was like, he's not going to get 2,000 yards again, not even close.
You can't replicate that, but he's surprisingly a lot lower than we thought he would be.
Yeah, definitely. It's just only like 5 fantasy points. I usually demonstrate performance by fantasy points.
That's got to be killing the fantasy owners who have him.
And then... Minnesota, they did look strong, but definitely Philadelphia just turned it on. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown definitely catching a bunch of passes, especially Devonta Smith coming out as a pretty good receiver. And it's strange that he's had such a mediocre career so far. He has had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons, but Devonta Smith is like one of the only receivers I've seen in a decade that's won the Heisman Award. He had like 2,000 yards and 21 touchdowns in his junior year at Alabama. So I was surprised that he wasn't so good in the NFL so far, but he did have a good game against the Minnesota Vikings. And moving on to that Carolina-New York Jets game, this game got Justin Fields benched. Carolina's defense continues to look surprisingly strong. I think they look weirdly strong, that defense on the pass and running game. Carolina, unfortunately, they lost Bryce Young to that game, so we kind of saw the red rocket a bit. Andy Dalton will start the next game against the Bills in Week 8.
Okay.
So we'll elaborate more on that draft picks, and it's kind of a new committee backfield for those Panthers. They found Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard in kind of a mix. Rico
They had
Dowdle,
about equal number of shares from what I saw.
yeah, equal number of touches, but Rico Dowdle got more scrimmage yards. So it's good to see a team kind of find something like an offensive weapon halfway through the season.
I might start picking them in some of these picks. We'll see.
And moving on to the New York Jets versus the Denver Broncos. This was
the Giants versus the Broncos.
The New York Giants versus the Denver Broncos.
What a game this was. This is the most exciting, crazy game of the week, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It was ended up being Denver 33, New York Giants 32.
And yeah, Denver... Bo Nix turned it on, 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone.
All of those points came in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
And the New York Giants kicker might be having some locker room troubles, because he did miss the extra point when the Giants went up a score late, and so he made it a 1-point game, or he made it a field goal game. So basically, it was 32 to whatever.
If he'd have made that, Denver could have marched down. It would have gone to overtime.
But instead, the Denver Broncos marched down the field, and Bo Nix gets in field goal position, and Denver Broncos win that game. So it was that was a good game, though, and both teams were trash talking a bit before the game. But yeah, it was that was a very interesting game. Moving on to this Indianapolis Los Angeles Chargers game, I'll give my thoughts, and you can get into thoughts of the next few games. Indianapolis just continues to be really, really strong in the offense.
Yeah.
But this was an interesting game from both sides, because I thought Indianapolis's defense would be a little bit better than this, but the Los Angeles Chargers just really scored on them. Got I think it was like 28 points. But Keenan Allen still showing. He was with Justin Herbert a couple years. He was on the Bears last season, but coming back to the Los Angeles Chargers, he's just like surprisingly good for his age. He's like 34, and he's like catching like 10 for 12 targets for 100 yards and a touchdown. It's really impressive for Keenan Allen.
Excellent. In the next game, we have Dallas beat Washington 44-22, and Dallas is. I'm kind of changing my mind on them as well. They're looking strong. Dak Prescott is looking really good.
Yeah.
And what is this? CeeDee Lamb was back this week.
CeeDee Lamb was back this week. He got over 100 yards. He had that 70-yard touchdown. Unfortunately for me in fantasy, he didn't do much in that second half, but he still got 25 points for me. But yeah, that Dallas team really needed CeeDee Lamb back. Well, they did. George Pickens was pretty good, but yeah, that Dallas team looks strong. The problem with them is it's going to be their defense. I'd say they're the kind of like the 2024 Cincinnati Bengals of this year, 2025. Okay. Their defense is just very, very bad, and Washington continues to have injury issues. I believe they were losing. They've lost Jaden Daniels to an injury in this game, and we'll talk about it more in our Week 8 picks, but Jaden Daniels is out, Terry McLaurin might be out, and Deebo Samuel might be out, as well as Zach Ertz having some fatigue issues, as well as having shoulder issues, so injury-ridden Washington team.
I laugh because when is Terry McLaurin ever in? I mean, come on, guy.
he really got that, I don't know, like third most paid wide receiver in the NFL. Then he just decided to have an injury.
He's on my fantasy team somewhere, but I'm just sitting on my bench. And then next is Green Bay and Arizona. Green Bay beats Arizona 27-23, and again. Arizona, I believe they had another fourth quarter lead, and again couldn't pull it out to the end.
Just can't pull it out.
Tell us some more about that one.
Yeah, Arizona, they really showed strong in the passing game. Jacoby Brissett is surprisingly good. I expected the last 2 Arizona games to be really breakouts, but Arizona. He really fed Trey McBride. McBride continues to be a top 5 tight end in the NFL, maybe even the best tight end in the NFL. But yeah, that Arizona team, they still look good, but yeah, they just they don't have enough to finish these games. And Green Bay did cut it close, but they were able to squeak it out, mostly from the rushing game. It was surprising. Josh Jacobs came into this one questionable, maybe not playing. Then he rushed for 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So yeah, that was good to see. Moving on quickly to San Francisco. Atlanta game. I had Atlanta, but San Francisco's defense just continues to be strong, even without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. They really shut down that Atlanta Falcons defense, especially Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. And that San Francisco team, it's just surprising that they keep winning games without Brock Purdy and
yeah, this
Christian
is Mac Jones, 4 out of 5. Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey
CMC was ripping it up
really
yesterday.
just the fantasy MVP this season so far.
He's back to where people thought he would be last year, whatever it was. Yeah, everyone was like picking him as number 1, and now he's starting to rise up there again.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to this Detroit-Tampa Bay game, I expected this one to be much closer, but when you have a Tampa Bay team that is riddled by injuries, they recently lost Mike Evans in this game to I think it was
this game he just came back and just got injured. And
I think it was a back injury or something like that.
Collarbone?
Collarbone, yeah. And it looks like he'll be out for the rest of the season. So unfortunately,
well, he might be back in December, but they're saying for fantasy people who needs him now.
It looks like Tampa Bay's. It looks like Mike Evans' 1,000-yard streak will come to an end this year. He was coming off a hamstring injury, came into this game, and then he got injured again.
And that was 11 seasons or something over that. It's a shame. He's quality.
He was really good. And Mika Ibuka, he was injured going into this game, but he had also a hamstring issue, but he fought it out. He played this game. He wasn't entirely great, but he really is the only receiving option on this Buccaneers team right now. And also the emergence of what's his name? I forget. The receiver out of Oregon, who I thought was pretty good coming out of college, but he dropped to the 7th round, but he's really good right now. Tez Johnson. That's his name.
Got a good memory.
Yeah, and he was just a shifty receiver. I was surprised he wasn't selected higher, but he's really emerging as Baker Mayfield's favorite target now after all these injuries.
Yeah, and what do you think about Detroit? They're still looking strong. They have all their weapons still, and they're all still healthy,
strong.
Right?
Jameer Gibbs just continues to be really, really good. He got like 38 fantasy points, just so good on the receiving and rushing, and you could just see how hard he plays. Like we saw, there was a play where it was like a 3rd and 1, and he was stopped behind the line, but he like ran it out and like dodged a couple tackles and dived for the first down. He's such a good player.
Yeah, and this final game on Monday night, Seattle beat Houston 27-19, and I didn't really watch this one. It came on 10 p.m. on a Monday night. I kind of don't have that much energy in me, but notable to me is because he's on my fantasy team is Nico Collins going out with a concussion. I don't know if he'll be back. He's questionable for this coming week, but other than that, any comments about that game? I guess Sam Darnold's still looking.
Sam Darnold,
Seattle Sam, I call him these days. But
Sam Darnold still looks good. Jackson Smith and Jigba continues to look like a top 5 receiver. He's been so good for Seattle this year. I didn't watch this game much at all, but Seattle's offense still looks good. I saw Zach Charbonnet got most of the red zone touches again and got 2 touchdowns, I believe.
Those like 2, Still watching those guys. Still watching that Charbonnet Walker
it's
mix
so tough. It's like it's kind of like the Lions last year, but instead of giving like red zone touches to
Charbonnet gets end zone touches.
It's like I'm comparing like Jameer Gibbs was Kenneth Walker. Jameer Gibbs still got like 16 touchdowns, but like Kenneth Walker gets none. But then David Montgomery, the power back, comes in there. He gets like 14 touchdowns, and that's Charbonnet.
I was always loving that last year because I had Montgomery.
We'll go quickly through
our results were. I ended up being 12-3 on the week, and you were 11-4.
And we bounced back after a couple bad weeks, but I was 11-4.
Obviously, we don't do like point spreads or anything like that, but we're just picking straight up. But still
we'll move into our week 8 picks here. We'll do live picks and talk briefly about it.
We forgot to sign our sheets last week, but I knew mine was mine because I was the guy who picked Las Vegas. But this week I'm signing mine. So why don't I go first? I'll just go down the list here. I'll go quickly. Minnesota at Chargers. Oh, this was easier when I looked at it earlier today. Let's go with... oh boy, I'm off already. I'm going to go with the Chargers. Miami at Atlanta. That's going to be Atlanta. Jets at Cincinnati. That's going to be Cincinnati. Cleveland at New England. New England. Giants at Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Buffalo at Carolina. Buffalo. Chicago at Baltimore. Pause on that one. We'll come back to that one. San Francisco at Houston. We'll go San Francisco. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Oh, They have to go Tampa Bay, I guess. Dallas at Denver. Would Denver having to wait till the fourth quarter to get all their points? I'm going Dallas on that one.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Indianapolis. Indianapolis strong every week. Green Bay at Pittsburgh, another interesting one. I'm going to go with Green Bay. And then Washington at Kansas City. Oh, I always hate to pick Kansas City. Just out of principle, I don't want to, but I think I will.
Yeah, okay, going into mine.
So now give us some rationale on your pick.
This Thursday night football game is really challenging, but I think I have to go Minnesota.
Fair enough.
Los Angeles Chargers, they did have a good offense last game against the Colts, but I just think the Vikings are going to be a little bit better. It's tough. This game is probably the hardest of the week for me, but I just think Minnesota will squeak that out barely. I have Atlanta beating Miami, pretty explanatory. Miami just looks horrible, and Atlanta's and they have let up the most rushing yards for any running back who goes against them, and Bijan Robinson is going to get like 200 against them probably. Nice. So I think Atlanta will win this one pretty easily. I have the Cincinnati Bengals beating the New York Jets. The New York Jets having benched Justin Fields. Even with the Cincinnati's mediocre defense, I think Cincinnati will stick in there and be strong offensively again. This one is interesting, but I have Cleveland beating New England. I think this is their first real test of the season, and I don't think Drake May is ready for Cleveland. I just think this is going to be a very defensive battle, and I think Cleveland's going to squeak this one out just from a good rushing game, and I think Myles Garrett will sack Drake May a couple of times and squeak out this game maybe by a field goal. But I just think this will be a New England loss. I have Philadelphia beating the New York Giants. The Giants did beat Philadelphia in that Thursday night football game, but this time it's in Philadelphia. They do have a good home field advantage there, and I just think Philadelphia squeaks this one out. I am surprised. I'm glad. It's fun to watch the Giants. They have new weapons. Jackson Dart looks great. It's Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
I
Philadelphia.
got Wan'Dale Robinson on my fantasy team.
And I think Philadelphia's going to squeak this one out. I have Buffalo beating Carolina. This one it's closer than I would think because Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard are good, so they might rush for a lot of yards against the Bills. But I just think the Bills squeak this one out because the Panthers will have Andy Dalton at quarterback this week, and the Bills' defense.
I hope the Bills just wake up and crush people, and Josh Allen starts running again and just doing his crazy stuff. But continue.
Yeah, and for this pick, I have.
Oh, I didn't pick one on this one.
Have.
Don't tell me yet.
Okay.
I'm going to go Chicago then. All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, I have Baltimore because I just saw a report that Lamar Jackson was practicing again. It was limited, but I just think Lamar Jackson comes back this week and wins it against Chicago. But I wish I could flip it, but I am committing on Lamar Jackson playing this week for Baltimore to squeak out that game. I have San Francisco beating Houston. I've been impressed by San Francisco's defense, and I think Brock Purdy will finally come back this week. And Christian McCaffrey has continued to look good. And I don't think Houston's offense is good enough to beat up on that San Francisco defense, especially after San Francisco held the Falcons to just, I believe there's only, how many points was it?
10 points.
Only 10 points, and with the talented team they have. And I just don't think Houston will be good, especially with Nico Collins having injury problems with that concussion. I have Tampa Bay beating New Orleans. This one's interesting because Tampa Bay is injury-ridden still. Right. But I just think Tampa Bay will squeak this one out because the Saints aren't that great. I have Dallas beating Denver. This one's going to be close, but I just don't, Denver's defense has been the defining part of their team this year. Their offense has just not looked good. I know they had 4 touchdowns in the last quarter against the Giants, but like you said, they wait till the fourth quarter.
Why can't they do anything earlier?
Yeah, and in that game against the Jets just showed me I'm not impressed by the Broncos offense at all, so I have to pick Dallas on this one. Okay. I have the Colts beating Tennessee. That's pretty explanatory. Don't have to say much about that. Yeah. I have the Green Bay Packers beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one's pretty interesting. Green Bay Packers haven't looked as strong as I thought they'd be, and I think this will be more of a defensive-focused battle, but I think Green Bay squeaks this one out because of Josh Jacobs being pretty good, and the offense looking a little bit better. I have Kansas City beating Washington. This would be a closer game last year if the Commanders had a full team, but the Commanders, like I mentioned, Deebo Samuel out, Terry McLaurin out, Jaden Daniels out. I think Kansas City wins this one pretty easily, but it's pretty it's maddening to cheer for Kansas City, and it's kind of annoying too. I saw at the beginning of the season that they have 9 9 primetime games, and they've had like 4 in a row. So
Yeah,
they're
well,
really
at least
pushing
you
the
at
Chiefs
least
at
you
us,
have
yeah.
a fantasy player in Mahomes on your team. I have no reason
Yeah.
to like them at all or cheer for them.
Yeah,
but
I
anyway.
just like Mahomes is all. But we'll move into some NBA and NHL and a little bit of
NBA is coming up.
MLB talk.
NHL, that'll
let's
be all you
see
because I don't know anything
what
about
time it is here. It is 7:11 p.m.
So the games are just starting now.
Games around the NBA are just starting. They had a game last night that
The
was
Celtics are
double
on tonight,
overtime. The Houston Rockets at the Oklahoma City Thunder. I checked in briefly, and it looked like Alperen Sengun, their talented center, he was pretty good. 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists or something like that. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is strong again, coming off his MVP season. He averaged 30 points last year, and he dropped 35 last night. And it was a really interesting game, I heard. Kevin Durant did good in his debut for the Houston Rockets. But, yeah, it was a very close game, double overtime. What a good way to start the NBA season.
Oh, that does sound exciting, yeah. So I am going to have to do my homework, learn some of the names and who's on what team and so forth. And I'm going to have to, again, learn to like NBA games because I was actually like on the Chat GPT, the AI today, just saying like, listen, I don't find NBA exciting at all. You know, why is that? Like, how can it be made more exciting? Because it is a problem, and there's less viewership because of all these 3-pointers, and the Celtics lead that charge, and like their game's just going out there, firing up 3-pointers. There's no plays, there's no excitement. It's just like, let's get a guy open, shoot it outside the line, and hope for the best. The problem with all that is, I guess the analytics supports all this, but man, I miss basketball how it used to be. Big guys down low in the paint, slamming it down, hook shots, whatnot. But here I am. I'm an old man yelling at the clouds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would like to see some sort of change, some rule adjustments on the 3-point shots, just something. But with that said, I'm just like babbling now. But with that said, I'm going to try and learn. I'm going to watch some games, give it a good chance. You know, sit down there and watch some of these games and really get to love the game again, like I used to when I was young.
And I'll try to do that too. I wish I did, because the season I told myself I'm gonna watch the Celtics. I'm gonna do this. I watched their first 5 games and I was like tuned out for the rest of the season. That was the season they won the NBA Finals. So I regret that. But
because I love college basketball. I love watching the high school basketball games.
Yeah,
There's just something about the NBA and the pros. But go ahead.
Yeah, the Celtics play tonight. They play the Philadelphia 76ers. I believe they have a couple of players out. They still have talented Joel Embiid. He's always an MVP candidate. Won it a couple of years ago. Tyrese Maxey's good. I believe Jared McCain is out for this game. I'm not sure. But the Boston Celtics starting 5 just does not look that great last year. I have it pulled up now. Point guard Derek White, shooting guard Anthony Simmons, small forward Jaylen Brown, power forward Sam Hauser, and center Neemias Queta. So I think the defining parts of why that sounds bad is that power forward and center position after trading Porzingis in the offseason and losing Al Horford, going to another team in free agency, and losing Tatum, of course, the injury. It's just those positions are really not solid for the Celtics. But I like Anthony Simmons. He's averaged 19 points plus per game for the Trailblazers past couple years. We got him in a trade. So it'll be exciting to see him in the game. But also Jaylen Brown is questionable for tonight. He's like a game time decision. So if he's out, I think the Celtics are really not going to win this game at all. Yeah. So it'll be a tough.
We'll check out the second half of that game when we get home and see.
Yeah, it'll be a tough season for the Celtics until January when they get Tatum back. Moving into some Bruins hockey really quickly. Yesterday they had a game. The Florida Panthers came in. It was the return for Brad Marchand, and we unfortunately lost that game 4-3. And the Bruins are now on a 5-game losing streak, so back to their old ways. They started off with 3 wins, and I believe they're on a 5-game losing streak now.
What a bad way to start.
Yeah, David Pastrnak is just the only good part of that Bruins team. The goalies continue to be bad. Just the Bruins are just not a team I'd probably watch, but we'll review it on this podcast as much as we can. But the Bruins just don't look great again. Moving into some MLB baseball, I think we mentioned this.
We almost forgot the World Series coming up.
Yeah, the World Series. It will be the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe Game 1 will be in Toronto because Toronto had the better record. I have to cheer for Toronto. I just don't like the Dodgers. I'm one of those people that say I don't think they're entirely ruining the game, but I don't think it should be allowed. I don't think they should have a salary cap, but I definitely don't think they should have deferred contracts as much as it is. Because I've been always rambling on about this, but Shohei Ohtani's contract, 10 years, $700 million. It should be the money he gets. They're deferring his contract like $680 million, so he only gets paid like $7 million a year or something bad like that, and all his money gets paid like in 2032. So it's like. Those shouldn't be allowed. You should have to pay the player what they signed the contract for. But in Red Sox news, Alex Bregman has opted out of his contract. He will test free agency next year. We're yet to see what Trevor Story does. He's also he has an option year. And in recent reports, I think we reviewed this, but Red Sox might pursue a first baseman next year because it sounds like we're not going to commit to Tristan Casas this year. And interesting trade candidate coming up is Tarek Skubal for the Detroit Tigers. He looks like he'll win the Cy Young again back-to-back this year. Mm-hmm. Also a Triple Crown pitching winner. It'll be very, very cool. I don't know what the price will be, probably too high for us, but it'll be really cool if we get him. Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet 1-2. That'd be amazing for the Red Sox. Yeah. But and Tarek Skubal and the Detroit Tigers are struggling with those contract negotiations. Of course, Tarek Skubal's agent is Scott Boras. He's infamous for all of his contract things. He was Juan Soto's agent. He got Juan Soto that 700, however much it was contract, $700 million. And he wants a considerable amount of money for Skubal, like 10 years, $500 million when Skubal's 28 years old and already coming off a couple Tommy John surgeries. So maybe take that down, and the Detroit Tigers might trade him. So that's someone the Red Sox can look forward to, and I think it'll be a similar situation we had with Garrett Crochet last year. It sounded like we went for him at the deadline last year. Nobody got him. He stayed with the White Sox, but in the offseason, the Red Sox paid a good price and got him second in the Cy Young voting, probably, Garrett Crochet. And we're looking at Joe Ryan this year. We tried to get him in the deadline, but we weren't even really close. The Red Sox really need to improve at the trade deadline in the future. Yeah. But I think we'll get him in the offseason. We'll do something like that. Plenty of time in the winter meetings and all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting story. Yeah. You're on top of these things. And we'll keep a lookout and see what the Red Sox do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that was about it for episode 8.
Episode 8.
It'll be interesting in episode 9 because most sports will end, but we will review some playoff games if they happen, as well as the Panthers football game. They have a couple more, but most sports are into the playoffs.
It'll be a good transition to see what we do next. In terms of this, we're our plan on being here, but maybe we'll adjust the format a little bit. Like you said, maybe we'll get some players in. They can talk about their seasons. Yeah, and that was about it for episode 8. Hope you tune in for episode 9. That was Andrew's Sports Zone. I'm, of course, Andrew Bartholomew. It's my father, Peter Bartholomew, and we're signing out. We'll see you next week. Thank you.